collectors and Transformer fans. Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the absolutely incredible contributions from all of my Optibotimus Plus channel members, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Legacy Deluxe Class Dragstrip. And for full disclosure, this figure was purchased from an overseas seller, but will be hitting various retail locations fairly soon. And this was one I was very excited about. This, as well as the confirmed Commander Class Motormaster, essentially is giving us the distinct impression that we are going to be getting a brand new combiner of Menasor. And that makes me super excited. Now, we did get one in the Combiner Wars line, which wasn't bad. It was the early days of the Combiner Wars, so there was still a lot left to be learned. But going through the different War for Cybertron series, like with Earthrise, Siege, Kingdom, all of that, even going back a little bit further with like the Power of the Primes, they have really been getting their stuff together. And if Dragstrip here is any indication of what we have in store with the rest of the Stunticons, I am all on board. As you can see, looks very much like his G1 self, where it's this race car that looks super low profile and super sleek. This guy is fun looking. You got the whole 6-wheel design with the larger rear wheel here in the back, the 2 in the front. Rolls really well. There's not a lot of clearance issues or anything, which is really nice. Obviously, you can see that you can store his weapons right up here on the top. If you really wanted to, you can also combine them. It's kind of weird, though, combining them. They just peg together, which is fine. It gives you kind of a double barrel gun, but you do have a double handle situation, and he doesn't really hold it that well like this because there's not one single handle. But you can do that if you really wanted to. You can see that it is done up in a really nice paint scheme here. Looks like it's mostly molded in this black plastic with this nice metallic purple accent in it around the side. But this guy's super cool. Very low profile, just the way that he should be. Now, bringing in the Combiner Wars one, you can see this has a little bit more of a Mirage sort of look, which nothing really wrong with that or anything of that nature. But there were definite issues with the Combiner Wars line in terms of some of the, I don't really want to say QC of sorts, but the ratchet joints, like it didn't really work all that well. And the combine mode just kind of looked weird in some of these combiner cases. Menasor was definitely one of them. But you can see that there is a nice difference between the two. You can see that this is a little bit more of a yellowy yellow, whereas this has a little bit more of that spicy yellow in there. A little bit darker purple. You do have the kind of reddish purple accents. Oh, it's a little bit of reddish purple. But overall, I mean, big difference between these two. Roughly about the same size. This guy is a little bit bigger, so there's not too much of a difference in terms of the sizing. But I love the way that this guy looks. You got the engine exposed here in the back with some nice silver paint. You do have his head sticking out right there, but one thing that's interesting, I don't know why they do it, is the back of his head is completely hollow. I don't know if that's just to kind of make it look more like this is meant to be a seat in vehicle mode, but that's a cool little thing. At first I was like, well, did they forget to put in the light piping? I don't know. But then I was like, maybe that's just so that it kind of blends in and makes it look more like a seat in the actual vehicle. Which, for me, that's a nice little kind of workaround than having just an exposed head right there. I do dig that. Now, you can split this guy. This is going to be funny. So you got this little tab right here. It's kind of hard to actually get inside there and do it. So I'm just going to bring in a little nail filing thing. But you push that in, and it's spring-loaded, and you can kind of see springy. So you can separate this guy. Now, I imagine this is how he's going to be combined. We haven't seen any sort of images with combiners or anything of that nature. But I would imagine that that's going to be done so that you can have articulation. You can see that on the back here are several holes. So you got like 2 little holes here, 2 little holes here that literally serve no purpose for either of the Dragstrip's modes. And then you got 2 holes right down here, which that might connect to like his fist or something like that. And then you got an empty section right here. So I would imagine that that's going to connect onto the side, because we know that the trailer for Motormaster is basically going to make up the body of Menasor and have all those extra bits. So that's going to plug into the side, and that's going to plug on the side. And you're going to be able to like articulate his arm or something like that. Realistically, though, keeping it connected, for the most part, is more accurate than splitting them up. In almost every scene that I can think of, these guys just like stuck on the side of Motormaster, and he had a whole separate arm that would dangle, and these would just kind of be attached and kind of flare on if you're going for animation accuracy. But using this, like I said, just plug that in. It does get a little bit tricky to do it, but that probably will allow for articulation there, which you're just going to plug in something there, probably plug something there, connect them, and you'll be able to hinge them forward and back, maybe in and out. I have no idea, but you can do that, or you can just pretend you're Megatron again and give Dragstrip the same fate as Movie Jazz. But that's all kind of speculation right now because we haven't seen any pictures at all for Menasor. Now, for a transformation on this guy, first we're going to come around. I'm just going to move these little bits down like so. And then you want to loosen these bits up right up here. You can push them down and they lock them into place. And that solidly locks the front half and the back half. So just kind of loosen that up just like so. Come around here to the bottom. This does get a little bit tricky to do because there's not a lot of space there, but just use your fingernail and pull these little sections out. And like I said, it does get a little bit tricky because I don't have very good fingernails. So pull that out, and then this whole section is going to accordion down, stretching out, giving out the remainder of his legs. Bring that up, connect that, and then split that just like so. Take these, rotate those bits down, and then rotate him at the waist just like that. Now this is going to be the back of him. This is the front. Take this section here, you lift this up, then you can rotate that around. Then this all splits right down the middle, and then loosen this up, and split all these down. These are going to all hinge down just like that. This little head piece is going to fold up, and then you got a double hinge thing going on right down here. You want to bring that down. That does get a little bit tight and tricky, so just bring that down. And then you got these little posts on the inside here of his chest area that are going to lock into these little slots. So just line that up, give that a good push, push that all the way in. Take these, rotate that around like so, rotate that around like so. Now, for transformation, they tell you to rotate these around. I kind of actually like leaving them off on the side a little bit. I think that looks cool. Like, that just looks weird to me, but the official transformation has them with that. I just kind of like leaving them like that, and then they're on these little ball joints that you can kind of flare them back a little bit, so kind of like leaving it like that. I think that looks kind of cool, but it's your toy. You can do whatever you want with them. But when you're done, there you have Dragstrip in his really very cool looking robot mode. And this guy is fantastic. Granted, the little shoulder things are definitely not animation accurate, but I don't think it looks all that bad and gives a kind of flair. Now, as I was talking about, you can dual wield his, or well, not really dual wield them, but connect them, but it doesn't really work all that well, because like I said, you got the two little posts right there. I mean, I guess you could kind of, I don't even know how you can mitigate that, because you got the thing right here, so it's gonna have them holding it on an angle, which I guess looks a little bit better, but this section here on the outside kind of gets in the way, so now he has to hold it on an angle, but that does look a little bit better. There's just no real way to kind of mitigate that, because that side piece is there. I guess, no, let's see, if you lower it, no, that still puts it on an angle, so you kind of have to use that one, and then it's like off-centered. So I don't know, it's probably better just to have him hold them two separate guns, so you could do that. But overall, really great looking figure. Head sculpt wise, I think is fantastic. It nails his look. That looks really super cool. He's got the little ears on there. Again, if you spin the head around, it is an empty head. But again, it kind of works in the vehicle mode. You got the chest section right here, which does look like his engine block, much like the original did. I love that they got the little tires up here on his shoulders. That's really cool. Like I said, this piece right here, I wish they could have found a way to rotate that around to have that at least on the back. I guess if you put it like that, it kind of, I don't know. It's not bad. Like I said, I kind of like leaving it off on the side just a little bit. It puts a little bit more on his shoulders, and you can kind of, I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. I think that looks kind of neat, like so. Legs look really good. Color is all really very nice on this entire thing. You can see that obviously he is predominantly yellow, but you got some more mustardy yellow kind of highlighting around the chest area itself. Cleans up really nice. You got the engine block here on the backs of his leg, but everything else cleans up really nicely. And then, yeah, you can... I want 2 pieces! I mean, you could do that if you really want to. Because of that, it does make this a little bit... You can kind of see a little bit loose, but it's not bad. And it's a fairly secure fit. I'm not going to break it, but I can't really pull that apart. Now for comparisons, let's bring in the only real one that I feel like he needs to be compared to, and that is going to be the Combiner Wars guy, which is still a great looking figure, but you can see size-wise, they're roughly the same, and that's pretty impressive for me. Obviously, he does have a more kind of stylized, lanky kind of look to him, which wasn't bad. And by no stretch of the imagination is any of the individual figures bad figures. Just combined, they always seem to kind of be underwhelming, except for some of the later ones. Personally, Computron is still one of my favorite figures in the entire Combiner Wars series. But this new Legacy one really does give a very nice G1 appeal. Articulation-wise, the head is on a bit of... It's a little bit of a ball joint, I feel. Oh, no, that's that little section. So it's probably just on a swivel looking left and right. You can rotate the arms up and down. When you move those all off to the side, you can get more of a range of motion. But realistically for me, you know, forward and back is good. In and out is good. You do have a swivel here at the bicep. You have a bend here at the elbow. Nothing at the wrists, but you do have the waist articulation, which is nice. Even though that's where that connects and everything, that is really cool that they still have that rotating. You have a pin hinge joint, it looks like, right here. For the hips, you have a swivel at the upper part of the thigh. Knee bend, you have actual ankle tilt, which is cool, but you do get like kind of that ugly gap right there. I guess forward, or well, back mostly, so you could have them like sliding like, go like, I'm going to just play, just like that if you really want to. So overall, great looking figure, really well done. Again, I remember saying this with some of like, I want to say it was like Devastator, that it felt like the individual bot modes were really cool, and that kind of started with Devastator, where the individual bot modes looked cool. And you could almost buy 2 of them to do it. I definitely think that you could do that with some of these Stunticons so far. Well, at least with Dragstrip here. This is a great standalone figure, even if you didn't want to combine them. I think it works really well. Now, for transformation back, I'm going to take these, rotate those around like so. Sitting that up just like that. Come around to the chest, pull this piece away. It does get, again... It tabs in very securely, so it gets tricky, but just kind of pull that up, and then you're going to have that double hinge. So make sure that you fold that all the way up, and then take the head, rotate that around, just like so. This entire section here then is going to hinge up, kind of straighten these little bits up, bring this all up like that, and then that's all going to connect, and then come around here to the bottom, and these are going to kind of swoop underneath the side, locking in just like that. And then you can bring these down like so and rotate him right at the chest piece. And then again, you're going to bring that all down, so just kind of hang out, and then rotate that around. And you can take this, make sure you push that all the way down, and that will lock down on the sides very nicely as well. For the legs, we're going to take these, fold these down. You can take these, fold that up like that. Go ahead and connect them at the middle section all the way down, and then there is that accordion that you just fold that up and bring that down. Now these little pieces right here, these little hook sections, you can kind of see them right here. They will lock down here, because otherwise when you bring that up, again, that looseness is going to still be there that he had in the actual robot mode. But if you take these and just push that all the way down, it does lock it. So now that is a solid connection, which is really nice to see. But when you're done, there you have Dragstrip, and again, like perfect clearance. You don't have to worry about fighting with that at all. But there you have him in his vehicle mode. And as I said, I thought this entire video, this is a solid figure. There are aspects that aren't entirely accurate to his animation, mostly in his shoulders, but I can forgive that because the rest of him looks really very cool. And I like a little bit of difference. I mean, I love that G1 homage, but you know, putting a little bit of style in there isn't bad. Vehicle mode, I think, is spot on. I love the way that this looks. I think these are like Formula 1 cars or something like that, but it nails that look perfectly. I like the little thing that they did here with the head. Again, I don't know if they meant to do it, but having a hollow section in here makes it just look like there's not a head just hanging out there. I really dig that. Transformation is simple. I mean, the kind of thing going on here with the legs is similar to what we got with the Combiner Wars, where they would open up and kind of accordion out. I think that this is done a little bit better. But even though that the transformation is simple, it's satisfying to do. Things don't need to be overly complex. They can be good regardless. And like I said, that robot mode looks wonderful. The only part that I really wish that they would have done differently would be those shoulder bits. If you could have made him fold back onto his back section, that would have been cool, but it's not a deal breaker. As I mentioned, I think that this guy is great as a standalone figure, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to do Menasor. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. There's your look at the new Transformers Legacy Deluxe Class Dragstrip. As I mentioned, this figure was purchased from an overseas seller, but is available for pre-order right now online at places like Big Bad Toy Store. So for that, I'll put a link right down there in the video description, where you can head on over to BBTS and check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. And thank you for watching and taking the time to be a kid.